The first N-Gage was released in November of 2002. It was released using the operating system Symbian, which this N-Gage QD is also using. Symbian is an operating system only made by Nokia. So it was basically a very bad operating system because Nokia at the time let very few people make software for their operating system. This led to many complaints when it came to Nokia's later phones in the early 2000s. That is why when you see Nokia phones to this day, they are now using Android because Symbian was really that bad. So why did the original N-Gage fail? Well, that's a question that has so many answers too. The first one is obviously the price. The price of the original N-Gage was $300. That was more than $200 more expensive than its competitor, obviously, the Game Boy Advance. Since the Game Boy Advance had a good reputation, since Nintendo was an amazing company at the time, only failing with one system, the Virtual Boy, Nokia had a lot of problems. So although this phone has phone capabilities like calling, messaging, emailing, and obviously web services, that did not make the N-Gage do well. You see, when it came to typing, as you can see, it only had numbers and had 3 letters for each number on this list. This makes it much harder when it comes to typing. To be exact, 3 times harder, since 3 letters per number. Personally, when it comes to typing, I find it very irritating since maybe I want to switch but want the same letter. It usually crashes on me or doesn't operate the way I want it to. So since that was an obvious flaw for both models, why don't I talk about the Taco phone, another nickname that made fun of the original model. The reason why that original N-Gage had the nickname Taco phone was because the microphone was down here and the speaker was down here. Not on the QD though, but on the original N-Gage. That meant to call, you had to hold it like this. Multiple people made fun of the original N-Gage for that, and that's why the original N-Gage is now looked at as an old relic that only collectors want, not people these days. But for me, since I'm a collector, obviously I should get one, and that's also why I have this QD. Now moving on to games, why did Nokia fail in that department as well? So like I said before, Nokia let very few companies make software for their operating system. That meant that very few companies were able to make games for the system as well. That led to a very small number of games. To be exact, 65 games worldwide, 57 of them being in North America. That was terrible at the time, which is why the Nokia N-Gage failed. So now the real question is, what happened to Nokia after the N-Gage? Well, the answer is, that wasn't it. You see, Nokia didn't give up after they discontinued the N-Gage 1 year after the N-Gage QD's release, which means it was 2005. See, N-Gage was actually continued starting in 2007 when Nokia announced that they would be turning N-Gage into a software. That would mean most of the games on the N-Gage would be able to be played on their smartphones. So no one really knows how many people actually use this software since it wasn't something that costed a lot of money or even a penny at all. I'll pop up that logo right here and so that you can see what it looks like. So if you look closely, it's actually similar to this logo, but instead of all caps, it's all lowercase. So that was very interesting when it came to the N-Gage because that maybe made it look like, hey, maybe it's like a childish version or something. No one really knows how well that really did, like what I just said, but many people know that the N-Gage will still be remembered to this day. So the real question now is, well, should you buy this N-Gage, or maybe should you spend your money on something else? Well, I think my answer is that if you're a huge collector and that you already have a lot of collections, sure, then get an N-Gage QD. But if you just want something to use to play games or something like that, but you still want something a bit on the unique side, maybe get something different, like maybe a flip phone or like a banana phone, or maybe like an Atari Lynx or a Game Boy, something more common that won't really waste your bang for the buck. So that's basically it for this video, and I really hope you enjoyed. Thank you.